Throughout human history, wars have been fought for power, land, and survival. But some battles went far beyond the clash of armies. They completely shifted the course of nations and rewrote history itself. Today, let's revisit some of the most important battles that changed the destiny of our world. The first known battle began in 331 BC at the Battle of Gaugamela. Alexander the Great, with a smaller army, faced the vast Persian forces of King Darius III. Imagine thousands of horsemen charging across the dusty plains, spears clashing, shields breaking. Against all odds, Alexander used brilliant tactics, splitting the Persian lines and sending Darius fleeing. This wasn't just a victory, it marked the collapse of the Persian Empire and the rise of Greek influence across 3 continents. Philosophy, science, and art from Greece spread into Asia, shaping cultures we still recognize today. Jump to 1066, when the winds of change blew over England. The Battle of Hastings wasn't just a fight between 2 kings, Harold of England and William of Normandy. It was the beginning of a new era. William's victory introduced Norman traditions, reshaped governance, and even transformed the English language itself. Words we use today trace their roots back to that moment. Imagine how different modern Britain might be if Harold had won that day. In 1775, across the Atlantic, a new revolution was stirring. On the hills of Massachusetts, colonial militias stood face to face with the mighty British Army at the Battle of Bunker Hill. Though the British claimed the ground, they paid a heavy price. For the colonists, this was proof. They could challenge one of the strongest empires in the world. That spark ignited the American Revolution, eventually giving birth to the United States. A single battle fueled the dream of independence. Now picture Europe in 1815. Napoleon Bonaparte, who had dominated the continent for years, faced his final test at the Battle of Waterloo. The clash was brutal, with mud, gunfire, and cavalry charges deciding the fate of empires. When Napoleon fell, his vision of European dominance crumbled with him. The balance of power shifted, paving the way for a century of relative stability in Europe. To this day, the phrase "meeting your Waterloo" means facing ultimate defeat. A century later, the world was engulfed in World War I. In 1916, the Battle of the Somme became one of the bloodiest battles in history. Over 1 million soldiers were killed or wounded. New and terrifying technologies, tanks, machine guns, chemical weapons, changed warfare forever. The human cost was staggering, and the scars left behind shaped the politics and emotions of an entire generation. It was a reminder that modern wars would no longer just be fought on distant battlefields. They would consume entire societies. Finally, in 1944, the world witnessed another defining moment: the D-Day landings in Normandy during World War II. On June 6th, Allied forces stormed the beaches of France under heavy fire. Thousands sacrificed their lives to break through German defenses. That day marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe and turned the tide of the war. Without D-Day, the outcome of World War II and the world order that followed might have been very different. Each of these battles, Gaugamela, Hastings, Bunker Hill, Waterloo, the Somme, and Normandy, shows us how a single day of fighting can reshape centuries of human history. Empires collapsed, nations were born, revolutions ignited, and the course of civilization itself was altered. History may remember these moments for their bloodshed, but they also remind us of resilience, courage, and the consequences of human ambition. They are proof that the destiny of millions can turn in just a few hours on the battlefield. Which of these battles do you think left the greatest mark on history? Share your thoughts, because history is not just about the past, it's about how we understand the present and how we shape the future.